Peace is not found in controlling everything. It is found in learning what to release. Many people spend their lives forcing outcomes, chasing people, overthinking decisions, and holding on to things that continuously disturb their peace. They believe that if they try harder, push more, or stay longer, life will finally feel calm. But the truth is often the opposite. Peace comes when you stop forcing what was never meant to be controlled. Trying to manage everything creates anxiety. Forcing people creates distance. Chasing what is not meant for you creates suffering. Holding on to pain, old expectations, and emotional attachments keeps your mind heavy. The more tightly you hold, the more exhausted you become. This audiobook is about learning the discipline of letting go. It is about accepting reality, trusting timing, protecting your energy, and building peace from within instead of depending on perfect external conditions. It teaches that patience is strength, detachment is freedom, and acceptance is wisdom. You do not need life to become easier to feel peaceful. You need clarity about what is yours to carry, and the courage to release what is not. Because true peace begins the moment you stop forcing everything. Stop trying to control everything. One of the biggest reasons people lose peace is because they try to control too much. They want certainty in every situation, perfect outcomes in every plan, and predictable behavior from everyone around them. They believe that if they can manage everything, they can avoid pain, disappointment, and uncertainty. But control is often an illusion. The more you try to force life into your expectations, the more anxious and exhausted you become. Many things in life are simply outside your control. Other people's actions, unexpected changes, timing, loss, rejection, and uncertainty cannot be fully managed no matter how much effort you put in. Yet people spend enormous energy trying to hold these things in place. They replay conversations, overthink outcomes, and constantly prepare for situations they cannot fully prevent. This creates stress without creating real security. Trying to control everything creates anxiety because your mind is fighting reality. You are demanding certainty from a life that is naturally uncertain. Instead of adapting, you resist. Instead of accepting, you tighten your grip. This constant tension drains emotional energy. Peace disappears because your focus is trapped in what you cannot guarantee. Control also creates fear. When your peace depends on everything going exactly as planned, even small disruptions feel threatening. A delayed result, an unexpected change, or someone else's decision can create major emotional instability. You become fragile because your calm depends on conditions staying perfect. But life does not work that way. Change is normal, uncertainty is constant, and people are unpredictable. Real peace begins when you stop trying to manage what was never yours to control. This does not mean becoming careless or passive. It means understanding the difference between responsibility and obsession. You are responsible for your actions, your effort, your boundaries, and your response. You are not responsible for controlling every outcome. That distinction changes everything. Focusing on what is actually within your power creates strength. You can control your discipline, your honesty, your decisions, and how you respond to challenges. You can choose patience instead of panic, clarity instead of overreaction, and acceptance instead of resistance. These things belong to you. They are where your energy should go. Letting go of unnecessary control is difficult because it feels like vulnerability. Many people believe that if they stop forcing, they are giving up. But letting go is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is recognizing that peace is more valuable than constant tension. You are not surrendering your life. You are surrendering the illusion that everything must happen your way. Acceptance is where peace begins. Acceptance means seeing reality clearly instead of fighting it. It means understanding that uncertainty does not mean failure and that not everything needs to be fixed immediately. Some situations require patience, some require boundaries, and some simply require release. But none of them require constant internal war. Another important truth is that trying to control everything often damages relationships. People feel pressure when they are constantly managed, corrected, or forced into your expectations. This creates distance instead of security. Control can look like protection, but often it becomes fear disguised as love. Trust requires space, not constant force. Life becomes lighter when you stop carrying what was never yours to hold. You do not need to predict every future problem or control every possible outcome. You need clarity about what belongs to you and the discipline to release what does not. This creates emotional freedom. Peace is not found in perfect control. It is found in calm acceptance. It is found in knowing that even when life is uncertain, you can still remain steady. You do not need everything to go right to be at peace. You need the ability to remain grounded when things do not. Ultimately, trying to control everything does not protect you. It exhausts you. The tighter you hold, the heavier life feels. But when you let go of unnecessary control, your mind becomes quieter. Your energy returns. Your decisions improve. Stop forcing life to obey your fear. Focus on what is yours to carry and release the rest. Because peace does not begin when life becomes predictable. It begins when you stop demanding that it must be. Forcing people only creates distance. One of the fastest ways to lose peace is trying to force people to become who you want them to be. You want them to understand, to change, to stay, to care, or to behave according to your expectations. You believe that if you explain enough, push harder, or hold on tighter, things will finally become what you hoped for. But people do not transform because of pressure. Most of the time, forcing people only creates frustration, resentment, and distance. You cannot force people to change. Change only becomes real when it is chosen, not when it is demanded. You can communicate, support, and set boundaries, but you cannot control another person's values, effort, or emotional maturity. Trying to do so creates emotional exhaustion because you are investing energy into something that is not yours to control. Many people stay trapped in painful relationships because they are attached to potential instead of reality. They keep focusing on who someone could become rather than accepting who they are right now. This creates constant disappointment. You keep waiting for proof of change that never fully arrives. Hope turns into frustration because your peace becomes dependent on someone else becoming different. Trying to control others often comes from fear. Fear of losing them, fear of being misunderstood, fear of rejection, or fear of accepting the truth. Instead of facing reality, people try to force outcomes. They over-explain, over-give, over-tolerate, and overstay. They believe more effort will create security. But forced connection is not peace. It is emotional struggle disguised as loyalty. Respecting reality protects your peace. This means accepting people as they are, not as you wish they were. It means noticing patterns instead of trusting empty promises. Actions reveal truth more clearly than words. If someone repeatedly shows inconsistency, dishonesty, or lack of respect, forcing them to be different will not create peace. Acceptance allows you to stop fighting what is already clear. Acceptance is stronger than pressure because it gives you clarity. Pressure keeps you emotionally attached to false hope. Acceptance helps you make better decisions. It allows you to stop wasting time trying to fix what is not yours to fix. This does not mean becoming cold, it means becoming honest. Honesty protects peace more than denial ever will. Let people reveal themselves. This is one of the strongest forms of wisdom. Instead of forcing explanations, watch behavior. Instead of chasing clarity, observe consistency. People show you who they are through repeated actions, not occasional words. The more you force answers, the more confusion you create. Silence and observation often reveal more than confrontation. Another important truth is that forcing people often weakens your self-respect. When you constantly chase, convince, or beg for basic respect, you begin to lower your own standards. You start accepting treatment that damages your dignity because you are focused on keeping connection instead of protecting peace. This creates internal conflict because deep down, you know you are abandoning yourself. Boundaries are healthier than control. You cannot control others, but you can decide what access they have to your life. Boundaries are not about changing people. They are about protecting yourself. If someone repeatedly brings chaos, disrespect, or instability, peace may require distance, not more effort. Boundaries create calm where control creates tension. It is also important to understand that not everyone is meant to stay. Some people are lessons, not lifelong connections. Holding on to people who repeatedly disrupt your peace often delays your growth. Letting go may feel painful, but forcing what is already broken creates a much deeper kind of suffering. Peace grows when you stop trying to manage people and start managing your own standards. Focus on your response, your boundaries, and your self-respect. Let people choose who they want to be. Your job is not to force transformation. It is to decide what you will tolerate. Ultimately, forcing people only creates distance because connection built on pressure is never stable. Real relationships require willingness, honesty, and mutual effort. Anything else becomes emotional exhaustion. Stop trying to carry people into becoming better. Let them walk their own path. Some will rise, some will leave, and some will remain exactly as they are. Your peace depends on accepting that truth. Because freedom begins when you stop forcing people to be different and start allowing reality to speak for itself. Chasing what isn't meant for you creates suffering. One of the deepest sources of emotional exhaustion is chasing what is not meant for you. This can be a person, an opportunity, a relationship, a version of success, or an outcome you keep trying to force into your life. You convince yourself that if you try harder, wait longer, or hold on tighter, it will eventually become yours. But not everything is yours to keep. Some things are lessons, some are temporary, and some were never meant to stay at all. Constant chasing creates suffering because it turns life into emotional resistance. Instead of flowing with reality, you fight it. You spend energy trying to make something happen that continues to resist you. This creates frustration because your peace becomes dependent on an outcome that refuses to settle naturally. The more you chase, the more your emotional stability depends on something outside your control. Attachment increases pain. The stronger your attachment to a specific result, the more fear and pressure you create around it. You begin to believe that your happiness depends on one person, one opportunity, or one outcome. This mindset is dangerous because it gives too much power to something uncertain. Instead of living with balance, you live with desperation. And desperation always destroys peace. People often confuse attachment with love or ambition, but they are not the same. Love does not require constant forcing. Healthy ambition does not require emotional desperation. When something is right, it may require effort, but it does not require losing yourself. If your peace disappears every time something feels uncertain, the issue is often not desire, it is unhealthy attachment. Chasing also creates blindness. When you are emotionally attached, you ignore clear signs that something is wrong. You justify poor treatment, delay necessary endings, and continue investing where there is no real return. You focus on hope instead of evidence. This prolongs pain because reality is being delayed, not changed. Letting go creates freedom because it returns your energy to you. Instead of constantly chasing, convincing, or waiting, you create space. Space for clarity, space for peace, and space for better things to enter your life. Letting go is not losing. It is refusing to keep suffering for something that keeps costing you your peace. This does not mean giving up too easily. Some goals require patience, discipline, and consistent effort. But there is a difference between healthy persistence and desperate chasing. Persistence is calm and focused. Desperation is anxious and exhausting. One is built on clarity. The other is built on fear of loss. Knowing the difference protects your future. What is right does not require desperation. It may require effort, but it will not constantly destroy your peace. A healthy relationship does not require endless convincing. A meaningful opportunity does not require abandoning your self-respect. Growth should challenge you, but it should not demand that you constantly betray yourself just to keep it alive. Another important truth is that sometimes letting go is the decision that creates your real path. Many people stay stuck because they are holding on to the wrong thing for too long. They cannot move forward because their hands are full of what should have been released. Peace requires empty space. You cannot receive better while refusing to release what is clearly not working. Acceptance is part of this process. You must accept that not every ending is a failure. Sometimes rejection is protection. Sometimes loss is redirection. Sometimes what leaves your life is making space for what actually belongs there. But you cannot see that while you are still forcing the wrong thing to stay. Your self-respect matters here. Chasing what is not meant for you often leads to lowered standards. You tolerate disrespect, uncertainty, and emotional instability because you are more focused on keeping something than protecting yourself. This creates long-term damage. Peace requires choosing dignity over desperation. Ultimately, suffering increases when you keep trying to force what life is clearly asking you to release. Holding on too tightly creates pain. Letting go creates movement. Stop chasing what keeps running from you. Stop forcing what keeps breaking your peace. Trust that what is truly right for you will not require constant emotional struggle to exist. Because peace begins when you understand that not everything is meant to stay, and freedom begins when you finally let it go. Overthinking is mental forcing. Many people think overthinking means they are being careful, responsible, or deeply aware. In reality, overthinking is often just mental forcing, the constant attempt to control life through endless thought. You replay conversations, analyze every possibility, predict every problem, and search for perfect certainty before taking action. It feels productive because your mind is active, but most of the time it creates stress, not solutions. Overthinking begins when you stop trusting simple clarity. Instead of making a decision, you keep reopening it. Instead of accepting uncertainty, you try to think your way into complete control. You convince yourself that one more thought will bring peace, but peace does not come from endless analysis. It comes from knowing when to stop. Constant analysis creates stress because your mind never rests. A problem that could be handled with one decision becomes a source of daily mental pressure. You carry unfinished thoughts everywhere. Even when nothing is happening externally, your mind is creating conflict internally. This is exhausting because your body responds to imagined pressure as if it were real. Not every problem needs endless thought. Some situations are simple, but overthinking makes them complicated. You ask too many questions, search for hidden meanings, and create emotional weight where clarity already existed. This often happens in relationships, work, and personal growth. Instead of accepting what is clear, you keep looking for a different answer because the truth feels uncomfortable. Overthinking is often driven by fear. Fear of making the wrong decision, fear of rejection, fear of uncertainty, or fear of regret. Thinking becomes a way to delay action because action requires vulnerability. If you stay in your mind, you feel temporarily protected. But delay does not remove risk. It only creates more stress and lost time. Calm minds make better decisions because they focus on what matters instead of trying to control everything. Simplicity improves clarity. Often the right decision is already visible, but noise makes you doubt it. You do not need more thought. You need more trust in what you already know. Another problem with overthinking is that it steals presence. Instead of living in the moment, your attention is trapped in imagined futures or repeated past events. You are physically present but mentally absent. This weakens your peace because life is being experienced through anxiety instead of awareness. Overthinking turns ordinary moments into unnecessary battles. Action creates clarity faster than overthinking ever will. Many answers only become visible after movement. You can think about a decision forever, but reality teaches faster than imagination. Once you act, feedback becomes real. You learn what works, what needs adjustment, and what no longer deserves your energy. Staying stuck in thought prevents that progress. Releasing the need to mentally control everything is a form of emotional discipline. It means accepting that not every outcome can be predicted. Some uncertainty must be lived through, not solved in advance. This is difficult because the mind wants guarantees. But peace does not come from guarantees. It comes from the ability to remain calm without them. Stillness helps here. When your mind is overloaded, silence feels uncomfortable because it reveals how much noise exists inside. But stillness is where clarity returns. When you stop feeding constant thought, unnecessary worries begin to lose power. Reflection becomes stronger than reaction. It is also important to ask better questions. Instead of, what if everything goes wrong? Ask, what is actually true right now? Instead of, how do I control every outcome? Ask, what is my next responsible step? These questions move you from fear to clarity. They bring your mind back to reality. Ultimately, overthinking is not wisdom. It is often resistance disguised as thought. It keeps you mentally busy while emotionally stuck. It promises safety but delivers exhaustion. You do not need to solve your entire future tonight. You do not need perfect certainty before moving forward. You need trust, simplicity, and the discipline to stop forcing answers that life can only reveal through time. Peace begins when your mind stops trying to control everything. Let thoughts settle. Make the decision. Take the step. Because calm is not found in endless thinking. It is found in finally releasing the need to think your way out of every uncertainty. Peace requires accepting reality. One of the greatest causes of suffering is resisting reality. People often spend more energy fighting the truth than facing it. They deny what is clearly happening, hold on to what has already changed, and keep hoping that reality will adjust itself to match their expectations. But denial does not protect peace, it delays healing. The longer you resist what is real, the heavier life becomes. Acceptance does not mean liking what happened. It does not mean approving pain, loss, disappointment, or unfairness. It means recognizing truth without trying to escape it. If something is broken, acceptance admits it. If someone has changed, acceptance sees it. If a chapter has ended, acceptance stops pretending it is still open. This honesty is painful at first, but it is the beginning of emotional stability. Denial creates suffering because it keeps you emotionally trapped. You keep replaying the same situation, hoping for a different outcome while reality remains unchanged. You delay difficult decisions because facing the truth feels uncomfortable. But the discomfort of truth is temporary. The discomfort of denial can last for years. Peace cannot exist where honesty is missing. Reality becomes easier when faced honestly because clarity replaces confusion. Many people suffer not only because of the situation itself, but because they refuse to fully accept it. Half acceptance creates constant internal conflict. One part of you knows the truth, while another part keeps resisting it. This emotional split creates exhaustion. Full acceptance ends that war. Fighting truth delays healing. Whether it is the end of a relationship, a missed opportunity, failure, betrayal, or personal disappointment, healing begins only when reality is acknowledged. You cannot heal from something you keep pretending is not real. Acceptance is the door that pain must pass through before peace can enter. Many people mistake acceptance for weakness. They think letting go means losing or that accepting reality means giving up. But acceptance is not surrender. It is wisdom. It takes strength to stop arguing with what is already true. It takes maturity to release the need for life to be different before you allow yourself peace. Acceptance also protects decision-making. When you see reality clearly, your choices improve. You stop making decisions based on fantasy, false hope, or emotional denial. You begin responding to what is actually happening, not what you wish were happening. This clarity prevents wasted time and protects your future from unnecessary suffering. Another important truth is that acceptance creates emotional stability because it removes constant resistance. Resistance drains energy. You stay mentally stuck trying to fix what may only need to be faced. Acceptance returns that energy to you. Instead of fighting reality, you begin building forward from it. Sometimes acceptance means admitting that someone will not change. Sometimes it means recognizing that a path is no longer right for you. Sometimes it means understanding that timing, loss, or rejection is part of your journey. These truths may be painful, but avoiding them only increases pain. Acceptance shortens unnecessary suffering. Self-respect is also connected to acceptance. When you refuse to accept truth, you often tolerate situations that damage your dignity. You stay where peace is repeatedly broken because hope feels easier than honesty. Acceptance allows you to protect yourself. It helps you choose boundaries instead of emotional confusion. There is also freedom in acceptance. Once you stop trying to force the past to return or the present to become something it is not, your mind becomes lighter. You stop carrying false expectations. You stop negotiating with facts. This freedom creates space for real healing and better decisions. Ultimately, Peace requires accepting reality because peace cannot grow inside denial. Calm comes from truth, not avoidance. Stability comes from honesty, not illusion. Life becomes lighter when you stop asking, "Why did this happen?" and start asking, "What do I do with this now?" That question moves you forward. It shifts you from resistance to responsibility. Accept what is real. Face what is true. Let truth hurt once instead of denial hurting repeatedly. Because acceptance is not the end of peace. It is where peace finally begins. Detach from outcomes you cannot control. One of the fastest ways to lose peace is becoming emotionally attached to outcomes you cannot fully control. You work hard, plan carefully, and hope for specific results. But life does not always respond according to your expectations. People change, timing shifts, opportunities disappear, and outcomes remain uncertain. When your peace depends entirely on one specific result, anxiety becomes unavoidable. Detachment is not indifference. It is emotional balance in the face of uncertainty. Many people confuse effort with control. They believe that if they care enough, work hard enough, or worry enough, they can guarantee the outcome they want. But effort and control are not the same. You can control preparation, discipline, honesty, and consistency. You cannot control every response, every timing, or every final result. Peace begins when you understand that difference. Attachment creates unnecessary pressure because it turns one outcome into your emotional center. You begin to believe that happiness depends on that one job, that one relationship, that one opportunity, or that one answer. This creates desperation. Every delay feels like failure. Every uncertainty feels like danger. Instead of moving with clarity, you move with fear. This pressure often damages the very thing you are trying to protect. In relationships, attachment can turn into control. In work, it becomes burnout. In personal goals, it creates constant frustration. You stop enjoying the process because your mind is trapped in the result. Peace disappears because the present moment is always being judged by a future you cannot guarantee. Detachment improves emotional strength because it separates your identity from the outcome. You still care. You still work. You still try. But your self-worth is not destroyed if life moves differently than expected. This creates resilience. You remain steady because your peace is not built on guarantees. It is built on stability within yourself. Focusing on effort instead of guarantees changes your mindset completely. Effort is yours. It is within your power. You can show up with discipline, honesty, patience, and consistency. These are controllable. Guarantees are not. When you shift your focus to effort, you regain control because your success is measured by your integrity, not only by the final result. This does not mean lowering standards or becoming passive. Detachment is not giving up. It is refusing to let uncertainty control your emotional state. You still pursue goals with seriousness, but without desperation. You trust the process instead of trying to force certainty. Balanced expectations are important here. Unrealistic expectations create disappointment because life rarely follows perfect plans. Balanced expectations allow hope without emotional dependency. You can desire something deeply while still accepting that life may choose a different path. This balance protects peace because it leaves room for both ambition and acceptance. Another important truth is that outcomes often teach lessons you could not predict. Rejection may redirect you. Delay may protect you. Loss may create clarity. What feels like failure in the moment may be preparation for something stronger. Attachment makes it hard to see this because your mind is too focused on what did not happen. Detachment allows perspective. Patience also becomes easier with detachment. When you are not obsessively attached to immediate results, you can move with calm discipline instead of panic. You understand that some things require time. You stop trying to rush life into your preferred timeline and start respecting the process. Your relationships with people improve too. Detachment allows love without control. You stop trying to force people to stay, change, or behave according to your fear. You care deeply, but you accept reality. This creates healthier connection because peace replaces desperation. Ultimately, peace grows when expectations are balanced. You stop demanding certainty from uncertain things. You stop carrying emotional weight for outcomes that were never fully yours to control. Do your part. Give your best. Protect your standards. Then release the rest. Because peace is not found in controlling every result. It is found in knowing you remained grounded regardless of what happened. Detach from the outcome, not from the effort. Let life unfold without turning uncertainty into suffering. Because the strongest peace comes from understanding that your stability should never depend entirely on what was never fully yours to control. Learn the discipline of patience. One of the hardest forms of discipline is patience. Most people can work hard for a short time, but staying calm while waiting is far more difficult. We want answers quickly, results immediately, and certainty as soon as possible. When life moves slower than our expectations, frustration begins. Impatience creates pressure because it turns delay into emotional suffering. But not everything happens on your timeline, and peace depends on learning how to wait without losing yourself. Impatience often comes from the belief that faster always means better. You want success now, healing now, clarity now, and change now. When progress feels slow, doubt enters. You begin to question the process, your decisions, and even your worth. This is dangerous because impatience pushes people into poor decisions simply to escape uncertainty. They leave too early, force outcomes, or settle for the wrong things because waiting feels uncomfortable. Not everything can be rushed. Growth takes time. Trust takes time. Healing takes time. Strong results are usually built slowly, not instantly. The problem is that people often respect the destination but resist the process. They want the reward without the waiting period that creates it. But real progress is often invisible before it becomes obvious. Much of the work happens quietly before results appear. Patience protects long-term growth because it prevents short-term emotional decisions. When you are impatient, you react instead of thinking. You may abandon something valuable because results are delayed, or chase something unhealthy because it offers immediate relief. Patience creates space between emotion and action. It allows you to stay steady enough to make decisions based on truth instead of temporary frustration. Trusting the process reduces stress because it shifts your focus from immediate outcomes to consistent effort. Instead of asking, "Why is this not happening yet?" you begin asking, "Am I doing what needs to be done?" This question creates peace because it returns your attention to what you can control. You stop measuring life only by speed and start measuring it by alignment and consistency. Calm waiting is strength, not weakness. Many people think patience means passivity, but true patience is active discipline. It is continuing to work, stay focused, and protect your peace even when results are delayed. It is not sitting still in fear. It is moving forward without panic. Patience is confidence without desperation. Another important truth is that timing matters. Sometimes what you want is not wrong, it is simply not ready. Forcing something before the right time often creates unnecessary damage. Relationships rushed too quickly break under pressure. Opportunities taken too early collapse without preparation. Growth without foundation becomes instability. Patience respects timing instead of fighting it. Impatience also creates emotional dependence. You begin to believe that peace can only come after a result arrives. You tell yourself, "I will feel calm when this happens." But this mindset keeps peace in the future and anxiety in the present. Patience teaches the opposite. Peace must exist during the process, not only after it. Your environment can influence patience as well. A world built around instant results makes waiting feel like failure. Constant comparison makes your own timeline feel too slow. But your path is not late because it is different. Growth should be measured by readiness, not by speed. Rushing to match someone else's timeline often creates regret. Patience also strengthens self-respect. When you trust your path enough to wait for what is right instead of settling for what is easy, you protect your standards. You stop choosing temporary comfort over long-term peace. This discipline builds confidence because it proves you are willing to honor your future, not just your current emotions. Ultimately, patience is not about waiting for life to change. It is about staying stable while it does. It is learning to remain calm in uncertainty, to trust what cannot yet be seen, and to keep moving without forcing outcomes. Strong people are not always the fastest. They are often the ones who refuse to panic when progress is slow. They understand that delay is not always denial, and that time often protects what force would destroy. Learn the discipline of patience. Let things grow. Let clarity arrive. Let life unfold without turning every delay into fear. Because peace is not found in rushing. It is found in trusting that what is right does not need panic to arrive. Protect your energy by releasing what drains you. Peace is not only about what you gain, it is also about what you stop carrying. Many people remain emotionally exhausted because they keep holding on to people, situations, habits, and responsibilities that constantly drain them. They stay connected to what repeatedly creates stress, confusion, and emotional heaviness. Over time, this becomes normal, and they forget what peace even feels like. But protecting your energy is not selfish. It is necessary. Some people and situations constantly drain peace. They create tension instead of stability, confusion instead of clarity, and emotional exhaustion instead of support. This may be unhealthy relationships, toxic environments, repeated conflicts, or even habits that quietly weaken your mind. The problem is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is simply the constant weight of something that never feels calm. Holding on creates emotional exhaustion because your mind is always working to manage what should have been released. You keep explaining, fixing, tolerating, and hoping. You spend energy trying to maintain things that continue to break your peace. This creates silent burnout. You may not notice it immediately, but over time your patience, focus, and emotional strength begin to weaken. Many people hold on because letting go feels like failure. They believe distance means giving up, or that releasing something means losing. But sometimes distance is healing. Sometimes peace requires separation, not more effort. Letting go is not always about rejection. It is often about self-respect. It is choosing not to keep sacrificing your stability for something that repeatedly harms it. Protecting your energy improves clarity because it removes unnecessary noise. When your mind is constantly occupied by draining people or situations, your thinking becomes heavy and reactive. You struggle to focus because too much attention is trapped in what keeps hurting you. Releasing that weight creates mental space. Space allows better decisions, stronger boundaries, and emotional recovery. Distance can be a form of healing. Not every problem needs confrontation, and not every relationship needs another explanation. Sometimes the healthiest choice is quiet distance. You step back, not from hatred but from wisdom. You stop trying to force peace where chaos has become a pattern. Distance protects what constant access keeps damaging. Another important truth is that energy is limited. Your attention, emotional strength, and mental focus are resources. If they are constantly spent on what drains you, there is little left for growth, purpose, and peace. Protecting your energy means being intentional about where it goes. You cannot build a strong life while pouring yourself into what keeps weakening you. Letting go also creates space for better things. When your life is full of emotional clutter, there is no room for clarity, healthier relationships, or new opportunities. People often ask for peace while refusing to release what keeps disturbing it. Peace requires space. You cannot receive better while holding tightly to what is clearly damaging. Boundaries are part of this protection. You do not need to explain every limit you set. Not everyone deserves unlimited access to your time, emotions, or attention. Strong boundaries are not walls. They are filters. They help you decide what belongs in your life and what does not. Without boundaries, peace becomes impossible because everything has access to your mind. It is also important to notice what drains you internally. Sometimes the problem is not only people but patterns. Overthinking, guilt, constant self-doubt, or the habit of revisiting what should be left behind. Protecting your energy also means releasing mental habits that keep you emotionally stuck. Ultimately, peace grows when you stop carrying what was never meant to stay. You do not need to hold every relationship, every disappointment, or every unresolved situation forever. Some things are meant to be learned from, not carried endlessly. Release what drains you. Let distance protect your clarity. Let boundaries protect your peace. Let self-respect guide what remains. Because a calm life is not built by holding on to everything. It is built by knowing what must be released. And sometimes the most powerful step forward is simply deciding that your peace matters more than your attachment to what keeps taking it away. Build inner stability instead of external control. Many people spend their lives trying to create peace by controlling external circumstances. They believe they will finally feel calm when life becomes predictable, when people behave the way they hope, when money is secure, when relationships feel perfect, or when every problem disappears. But peace built on external conditions is fragile. The moment life changes, that peace disappears. True peace must come from within, not from the world staying exactly as you want it to. External control is unreliable because life is naturally uncertain. People change, plans fail, opportunities shift, and unexpected problems arrive without warning. If your emotional stability depends on everything outside you remaining stable, anxiety becomes unavoidable. You are constantly trying to manage what was never fully yours to control. This creates fear, not peace. Inner stability is different. It means your calm is rooted in your mindset, your discipline, and your emotional control rather than in perfect circumstances. Life can still be uncertain, but you remain steady because your peace is not built on guarantees. You trust your ability to respond instead of demanding life to stay predictable. Emotional control creates resilience. This does not mean ignoring feelings or pretending nothing affects you. It means learning how to respond without being ruled by every emotion. Fear, anger, disappointment, and uncertainty will still come, but they no longer control your decisions. A strong mind feels emotions without becoming emotionally unstable. Strong minds stay calm in uncertainty because they understand that panic does not create solutions. Many people react to uncertainty by trying to force answers, overthink outcomes, or demand immediate clarity. But stability grows when you can stay present without rushing to escape discomfort. Calm is not the absence of problems. It is the ability to remain clear while facing them. Internal stability also reduces dependence on external validation. When your confidence depends on praise, approval, or constant reassurance, your peace becomes fragile. Other people's opinions begin to control your emotional state. But when your self-worth is built internally, through discipline, self-respect, and personal standards, you stop needing constant proof from the outside world. Another important part of inner stability is self-trust. You may not control every situation, but you can trust your ability to handle what comes. This trust changes everything. Instead of fearing uncertainty, you move through it with confidence because you know you can respond with strength. Self-trust is built through consistency, keeping your word, protecting your boundaries, and acting according to your values. Your environment still matters, but it should not own your peace. A healthy environment supports stability, but peace cannot depend entirely on perfect people or perfect conditions. If calm only exists when life is easy, it is not stability. It is temporary comfort. Real peace survives difficulty. Reflection helps build this internal strength. When you regularly examine your thoughts, reactions, and habits, you become more aware of what disturbs your peace. You stop blaming life for every emotional shift and begin taking responsibility for your internal state. This awareness creates control because you can change what you understand. Discipline also plays a major role. Inner peace is not only emotional, it is practical. Clear routines, strong boundaries, and consistent habits reduce chaos and create mental order. Discipline strengthens emotional stability because it gives structure during uncertain times. When life feels unstable, routine becomes an anchor. Another key truth is that peace must be practiced, not waited for. Many people postpone peace, telling themselves they will feel calm after success, after healing, or after life improves. But peace built that way never lasts because new problems always appear. Peace must exist now inside the process, not only at the end of it. Ultimately, true peace is self-built. It is created through emotional control, clear thinking, strong boundaries, and the refusal to let external uncertainty control your inner world. You do not need life to become perfect to feel stable. You need a mind strong enough to remain steady when life is imperfect. That is real peace. Build inner stability. Let your calm come from who you are, not from what happens around you. Because when peace lives inside you, uncertainty loses its power, and life becomes lighter, even when it is still difficult. Let go and move forward. Growth is impossible when your hands are full of what should have been released. Many people want peace, progress, and a better future, but they remain emotionally attached to the past. They hold on to old pain, broken relationships, regret, disappointment, guilt, and versions of life that no longer exist. They keep revisiting what should have been left behind, hoping that somehow the past will change. But peace cannot grow where emotional weight is constantly being carried. Holding on to the wrong things blocks progress because your energy stays trapped in what is already over. You may be physically moving forward, but mentally you remain stuck. You replay old conversations, relive mistakes, and keep trying to understand what cannot be undone. This creates emotional exhaustion because your attention is divided between the life in front of you and the life you refuse to release. Letting go is often misunderstood. People think it means forgetting, pretending something did not matter, or becoming emotionally cold. But letting go is not denial, it is acceptance. It means understanding that something happened, learning from it, and choosing not to let it control your future. You are not erasing the past. You are refusing to live inside it. Sometimes what needs to be released is pain. Sometimes it is anger, guilt, or resentment. Sometimes it is a person, an expectation, or an identity you have outgrown. Whatever it is, growth requires honesty. You must ask yourself, what am I still carrying that is keeping me heavy? That question is uncomfortable, but it reveals where peace is being blocked. Many people hold on because pain feels familiar. Even suffering can become a form of comfort when it has been carried for too long. Letting go feels uncertain because it requires stepping into something new. But familiar pain is still pain. Staying attached to what hurts you does not protect you. It keeps the wound open. Peace supports better decisions because a calm mind sees clearly. When you are emotionally trapped in the past, your decisions become reactive. You choose from fear instead of wisdom, from bitterness instead of clarity. Letting go creates emotional space. It allows you to respond to life based on the present instead of the pain of what already happened. Forgiveness is often part of moving forward, but forgiveness does not always mean reconciliation. Sometimes it simply means releasing the emotional hold something has over you. You stop carrying anger because you no longer want your peace controlled by it. Forgiveness is not for protecting the past. It is for protecting your future. Another important truth is that moving forward requires direction. Letting go is not just about release. It is about choosing where your energy will go next. If you only focus on what you are leaving behind, you remain emotionally connected to it. Growth happens when your attention shifts toward what you are building now. New habits, stronger boundaries, healthier relationships, and clearer purpose give your life forward movement. Self-respect is also connected to release. Holding on to what repeatedly disrespects your peace often means abandoning yourself. Letting go becomes an act of dignity. It says, I will not keep sacrificing my future for something that keeps damaging my present. This is strength, not weakness. Not every ending is a failure. Some endings are protection. Some losses are direction. Some things leave your life because they were never meant to stay forever. Accepting this makes release easier. You stop seeing letting go as losing and start seeing it as making space. Ultimately, moving forward begins with release. You cannot carry yesterday forever and still expect tomorrow to feel light. Growth requires open hands. Peace requires emotional freedom. Let go of what keeps pulling you backward. Release what no longer deserves your energy. Stop forcing life to return to what it was and start building what it can become. Because peace does not come from holding on tighter. It comes from finally understanding what must be released. And the moment you let go of what no longer belongs, you create room for the life that does. Peace does not come from having perfect control over life. It comes from knowing what to hold and what to release. The more you force people, outcomes, and situations that are outside your control, the heavier life becomes. But when you let go of unnecessary struggle, your mind becomes lighter and your decisions become clearer. You cannot force timing. You cannot force people to change. You cannot force every outcome to match your expectations. But you can control your response, your boundaries, your patience, and your inner stability. That is where real peace lives, not in certainty, but in emotional discipline. Letting go is not weakness. It is maturity. It is choosing acceptance over denial, calm over chaos, and self-respect over desperation. It is understanding that some things are lessons, not lifelong burdens. From this point forward, ask yourself, am I holding this because it is right, or because I am afraid to release it? That question can protect your peace. Life becomes lighter when you stop fighting reality and start trusting clarity. Release what drains you. Accept what is true. Move forward without carrying what no longer belongs in your life. Because peace begins the moment you stop forcing, and finally allow life to flow.